Hey y'all, happy Thursday, happy day, just happy. That's it. We don't even have to feel like we have to explain that. Y'all know I'm the type to, I'm okay with explaining that self. I'm not putting that on nobody else, but I am actually okay because I like as much clarity as possible. But we all know that some people choose to take whatever they choose to. Anyway, so the point is just happy. And I say that because I don't know why a part of me was like, I got to find something else. I got to be something else to say happy. No, happy, period. That's the post. Okay. So welcome and welcome back to another episode of the D Mix right here only on BeExposedRadio.com. You already know who Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time are for. The unseen, the unheard, the overlooked, the forgotten, whether it be the forgotten part of you or for the person that does not belong anywhere. Me, B. So welcome and or welcome back in the spirit of welcoming. Welcome, Jasmine. She back, y'all. She ain't decided to leave us yet, y'all. That's the blessing in it because she very well could. She could. If she wanted to, she had every right to leave us. And so she is back, just like we are back with a continuation of our topic from last week about non-attachments. It's just necessary. I feel like we had so much more to share, so much more to express and to walk through as far as like our personal experiences, anyone else out there, any of you viewing. And I always shout out for my folks that will view it and catch like the replay of it. But I love my live viewers. So to you, feel free always to like and share the show in general, especially this particular episode, as well as to comment and to call in and text 443-642-9403. Y'all, I ain't told y'all that in a minute, so that's on me. But yeah, so just welcome everybody. Come on into this place. Child, if you need to get you a little snack or something, go ahead and do that while you checking in and catching and sharing the show. Get you some, look, I got me a little tea this evening. I got me a little bit of that. Not, y'all thought I was about to say actual tea. Like, well, this is actual tea. Y'all thought I was about to say like tea, like to spill. No, I'm not spilling this tea. This is hot. So no. I don't have any gossip. I will say that. That's not my thing. Okay. So before we even get back into our topic, though, y'all know I love, I guess I can say love. I don't mean like it's a good thing, but I do enjoy or appreciate our moment of a history of racial injustice brought to you by Equal Justice Initiative. My favorite calendar, and it's at its end, so I had to get a new one. Oh, no, yo, we're in December. It's so crazy. Huh?
I was about to say, yeah, the year's almost about to be up.
Like, I have been, I plan to get into this part, but the calendar just reminded me of that like I've been, okay, yes, December, but it has not clicked to me what it means for this year, for whatever reason, like that December means it's the end of the year. So y'all, as we are talking about non-attachments, trust me, I am working through my own stuff as well because, child, that is, all right, we got breaking news. I don't even know which one to give y'all first. Lord. All right, because I'm gonna give y'all this moment. Then we go. So we do have hot tea to spill this evening. Okay, that's hot. Lord, okay. I digress. Excuse me, y'all. Don't I always tell
I'm like, what is it?
I know. I'm sorry. I'm the worst with it. That is why I'm not good at gossiping or anything. Like, I am absolutely the worst. Like, I just do not. Okay. All right. So, December 9th, 2014, U.S. government releases report on CIA torture of Muslim detainees from 2001 to 2006. Why so late in 2014 when it was from 0106, but I digress, including force feeding, mock executions, physical and sexual violence, sleep deprivation, and waterboarding. Here's the thing. Again, not that it's a good thing, but I can appreciate that with the, because remember, y'all, and for anybody that's never seen this, like I'm gonna show you this part of the calendar. Like it's literally something on every day of the entire year. And it's not just, honestly, just as Black and brown people, we think immediately when we hear like racial injustice, we automatically think against us, just African Americans or Black or African descendants, however you identify yourselves, right, as Black and brown people. But it's not surprising that this is torture against Muslim detainees. And it's unfortunate. That's all to say that it's just, it doesn't have to just be us for us to be like, oh no, because if we don't care about other people being tortured, I mean, then why would they care about us being tortured? Just saying. Okay. So I really have no words to that, because I'm sure somewhere somebody feels as though that is justified. And I, like most times, do not have a good transition into this breaking news, but I will break it now, because I don't even know how to stay on that. I want to linger there, but I don't even know what to say. I would literally just stare into the camera for a while. Breaking news. Y'all remember your boy Jussie Smollett? Y'all remember him?
I was going to say that.
That baby done been found guilty. To hear the most I had ever, because I've never looked into and even like listened long enough to hear any extra details. Thank you. Of like any details of like all of it, right? I've just, heard stuff here and there, and I'd be like clicking through the radio. And the other day, I wish I had actually took the time, but I was driving, took the time to jot down like some notes of just stuff that I was like, what? Like, I know it's like the men, I think they're brothers, like that but they're friends of his. I think I never knew that part. So it was the parts that I just never knew of, but had heard that they, said that he, paid them because of course that he knew them, but that they were all friends. And so he has been found guilty of falsely reporting a hate crime. He, well, I can't even say allegedly anymore. I can say that he set up, and I don't know if it actually came out that he did pay them, but those were the accusations. They were paid to beat him up. So, but his claim was that they were mad at him. I believe it's one of the brothers, that they were romantically involved, and that they used to like link up, like I think it was that they wanted to be the bodyguard. Got it. Ooh, this is hot. Y'all's coming in. Excuse me, y'all. I guess I would never be good on the news because how do news anchors do that? Do they get to practice? But breaking news, they don't. Like, they just get to say it and they don't have anything. Yeah. Like, the reactions, nothing. I wouldn't be able to do that. Okay.
Yeah, they did drugs together and masturbated together. I don't know if they was romantically involved, but that's what they... Right.
That was something I heard of. So his attorneys, Jussie Smollett's attorneys, are 100% confident that this will be reversed in appeal. Yeah. So, Jussie, please... I was about to yell. Let me bring my tone down. Stop. Jussie, please tell your attorneys just to leave it alone. Your name already, first of all, I stopped caring a long time ago. I will be honest. I stopped caring as much as far as like you are, if I really give this energy, you are setting us back so far. Like, just let them make fun of us. Why don't? Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. So he was acquitted on one account of felony disorderly conduct. Go, Jussie. Like, you just go right ahead. Big old Jussie. Good for you. But what I did hear still in that same ordeal, I think that was when they were awaiting. I don't even know why that was a big day for the case. That was earlier this week. Excuse me. So I know that when they were talking about, like I said, I was just having like the gasp, like, oh my goodness, I didn't know this, I didn't know that. that when they debriefed about that, and just whoever it was, whatever radio station and show that I was listening to, because it was just a happenstance. And so they kind of talked through it and said that their take on the details that they had shared was basically that with the brother, that it's more than likely, or just they believe rather, that maybe he was like on the down low or just had not come out yet, or whatever the case may be, because his claim was that he is heterosexual and that they had never been sexually involved, and that I don't even know if he spoke to the like smoking thing and all that, but that was Jesse. Jesse was saying that, and that I know I think his counterclaim was just that he had asked to be the bodyguard or just whatever, something like that. And so it was just all mixed up, and it just it's a mess, to be very honest. And I really mind my business. I can mind my business even when it's in front of me, but it was a mess. But that the radio host, like, that their take on it was that he was more than likely upset, probably over that, if nothing else. That, and then possibly they did say that, you know, some people, or so they've heard or whatever, again, this is the radio host's opinion, that folks will want to fight or have, you know, actually fought or beaten up people that have maybe outed them or something of the nature because of due regarding their sexuality and all that. So that was his take on it. But still, I hate crime. Like, it's that part for me. It's still just something through my chest bone.
Yeah, I heard that it was based on him wanting like publicity for his
right.
But I know around that time, it's been some years now, but when it first happened, they were saying he was in the midst of trying to get more money for Empire. And he wanted that publicity to help get him an increase in pay. But I do believe that as a result of this situation, he got removed from the show.
Isn't the show canceled altogether? Or am I incorrect?
Oh, that could be a thing too.
I'm not
Honestly,
sure.
I don't know.
Right. But like, I feel like I don't know if it's as an actual result of it, but you know, sometimes you can be like, I'm pretty sure. Yep. Canceled. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Appreciate that. Shout out to my producer, man. Keeps me together. But yeah, like you said,
it just sucks though, because like, you know, they quick to cancel stuff that involve Black people doing things. And even though, yeah, that was wrong, there was other people on the show that, you know, like,
that's not true.
All of them lose their job as if that was the result of or the cause of the canceling. But I don't think it is. But I don't know.
I'm pretty sure what it was.
I started to fade off of Empire anyway.
I know, right? That's why I said I wasn't even sure, because I stopped watching it a while ago. But you're right. That's a good point, that there are other people, and so a lot of other people lose their jobs. But to me, I know that of course it was other folks to make that decision to pull the plug on the show. But I put it on him. Like, you were a star of the show, so it's not even like, you know, somebody kind of popped in and out, and they probably could have, you know, dived that down and fizzed that out, but. Bruh, like you are a big part of the show that people have known since the beginning, and
loved, a loved character.
Exactly. And
on top of that, which was really like his career just taking off. So he really wound up had an adverse effect on whatever he was trying to achieve.
Exactly. Oh, look, and then this point here. But that's why it can be true that he was doing it for more money when when his ratings were plummeting. I remember, because the crazy was, I really, like I said, I stopped caring a long time ago. So I remember hearing more recently of like, this case is still going on. What in the world? Like, thought this was over. Because I remember like just being upset about it, like having these same feelings. Like, Jesse, come on, baby.
You know, it was probably a pause too because of COVID.
Oh yeah,
because it happened before COVID.
Right, exactly.
And so, you know, the courts were closed down for a while, and it's probably pushed back and postponed.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, and my thing is, this is where, so to tie in the topic, like when you are asked to be, and usually it's like on the nose, like I don't even think we get a heads up to be like a support for someone that maybe you have to talk them through, you know, releasing a non-attachment, right? And so like, say if you are friends with one of the folks that like the innocent bystanders on the show, like how do you talk them through what support can you offer them when it is like, no, but this really happened to me. Like this hurt, this sucked. Like, you gonna tell me just let it go? Like, well,
that's all you can do.
Right. That is kind of life and how it goes.
I mean, I think people are allowed to feel how they gonna feel. I think it's so hard because sometimes, we get different messages to tell people to get over certain things. But, getting over something is on a different timeline for everybody. So I don't know how they felt, but I will say on top of the non-attachment that clearly he was attached to the job.
Right.
And so that in the sense that he felt like he needed to do something to keep that momentum going, where maybe that was the expiration date for whatever it was that was coming to an end. Yeah. And bigger and better things could have come his way. As we all know, plenty of popular TV shows have come and gone. Mm-hmm. And some of those people have still transitioned into better roles, bigger roles, other roles. And that's okay. I mean,
no, that's good. That's a really good point of just when you said expiration date, I felt like, you ever watched the Pee Wee Herman show? And I felt like that was the word of the day.
Not recently, but yeah.
So I felt like that's really good. Like expiration dates, like they're necessary for a reason. We cannot live in a world, no matter whatever your circumstance is, you may want to feel like if you are in the highest, vibing in the highest vibration of your life right now, or even if you're at the lowest or somewhere in the middle, wherever you find yourself, that it still has an expiration date. We cannot, no matter how you feel that you don't want an expiration date, we all have an expiration date and we don't even know what it is. At least when you get a loaf of bread, you know that you should eat it by this date. Like, or you know what I mean? Like, yeah. Something. And so then look when you don't take heed to the expiration date, one, because you just have to consider and take heed to the overall concept of that, of the importance and significance of expiration dates, and then take heed to the specific expiration dates of different things and people and places and seasons of your life. Because then look what happens if you fight hard to hold on to something that you should, for the most part, let go of, clearly, then you basically make a fool of yourself. I love this point. But it could be true. Well, I'm sorry. What could be true is that he could have been going for the sympathy spot, like for his next role after Empire. So that's a good point too. Thank you, Monty. That is a good point, which could possibly work for him. But then the question is like, for me,
to me, it didn't make sense.
Is it worth it though?
Where he was at within his career, he seemed to be doing very well, I guess, from a media standpoint. We don't know him personally, but but from what I could tell, he was to me, next to Taraji P. Henson and of course the notable names, Taraji P. Henson and Terrence Howard, he was the most liked character.
It was like that was the first family. Like they already held their own because it was rocking about I forget the youngest brother's name, and even the oldest brother. Like it was right. People, I will agree. I was one of the people that like to look at the oldest brother. I ain't lying. That was actually when I liked him. I don't know, but I like looking at him, and now it's just like, oh, he's attractive, but it's not moving me. Moving on. But that was back. Like you have a cute one like on TV, like okay, look good. Then it's crazy. It was like, oh Lord, never mind. But he was out of the three brothers, because now it was starting to come to me about even the show. Because first I was like, I don't remember this daggone show. I remember being so into it. I used to go over to my daughter's Gigi's house. We would have Empire parties where we could. They were like, I really hope that they're watching because they're gonna definitely call my phone. But like they would be loud, so we couldn't keep watching TV. We would be cracking up and laughing, and had to pause it. And next thing you know, we realized we didn't only watch 13 minutes of it. Like it was crazy. But it was a big deal. And then all of a sudden, it was just like, and then it was just like, even once. Here's still tying it into non-attachment. Even once you have passed something, so it's just like an ex, right? And catch me, because I did tell y'all before, I had to grow into being this person, because I wasn't. Because I would be like, oh, I was the person that loved the most and did this and was so pure of heart. Ain't no way I ain't gonna wish you well after. No, like you gonna have a good life without me. But that is a point of healing. You get to that place, excuse me, to understand that, like, okay, let me take it off of relationships. I applied this to like work, right? So work for anyone that has, work anywhere really, but especially for anyone that's worked for like programs, different, like especially like community work. That's where I can definitely speak to any type of human service, right? That, once you leave, a role, position, whatever behind, that you should not, and emphasis on the should nots, right? Because a lot of people do not operate this way. But you should not feel as though, oh, once I leave, no matter how you left, if you decided to leave, if you were forced out, whatever the case may be, your sentiment should not be, hope they fail, hope they fall. Because look at the overall work that you do or that you know what I mean? Like, who is benefiting from it? So the fact that you get something behind, like, it should be the fact that you still wish it well. That's always been my sentiment, no matter how ugly the work environment may have, become right before I left, or whatever the mystery, whatever the case may be. I've always hoped, like, listen, and really, if you're really good at your job and really good at what you do, what you left behind really should be able to at least contribute, if not overall sustain, but contribute to the sustainability of said work, program, organization, whatever the case may be. Because like, you should be able to look at it and be like, you know what, I made sure I worked for that policy to come together, or for them to, start doing things this way to make it a little smoother or something. Like, you should, legacy, did you know, oh, here's your V-tip of the week. Thank you, Lord, for this deposit. Non-attachments are tied to your legacy. Now, it could very well be, if I take it any step further, it's like a cat hair that's like flying in front of me. If I take it a step further, that the way you handle non-attachments, I think directly impacts your overall legacy. And mind you, life is about building your legacy. You don't arrive at your legacy. Like Monday, you're like, you know what? Friday is going to be my legacy. That's it. It's done. No, legacy is built, over time. And so how you handle non-attachments, people and seasons and things going in and out of your lives, at different times. It's not like, oh, it's not like healthcare. You don't have an open enrollment, it's closed. Like, oh, so by this date, all non-attachments have stopped. By this date, non-attachments will be open to roll in and out. No, you got, your companion attachment coming in and out over here. You got your workplace non-attachment over here. Like, right. It's just a lot. It's a lot of different pieces and a lot of arms moving simultaneously. And it is for you to, juggle them, and for you to let, what's supposed to stick and take heed to that. So life is a lot. Life is heavy. It is, but it's about how you handle the load. So hence how you handle
and how you
or your legacy. Go ahead, James.
And how you learn from those experiences, because even though something doesn't last forever, those whatever lessons or experiences can help you move forward in a higher direction, a better direction, a more fulfilling direction. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we get attached to what we know because we're comfortable with it, or because we're used to it, or because we don't want to give up on it, and because we believe in it. But sometimes what we envision for ourselves is not what's meant for us.
That's good. As you were talking, what came to mind, I swear, I'm like such a visual learner. Dang it. I was trying to take note of what I said earlier and talk at the same time. See, juggling, not good at it. So a second. But God gave me, like, he knows I'm so visual. And so what I saw was like, it's all dark, but like, as you just think of a visual of like passing through doorways, you don't see any other doors. So all you see is this door that you're walking in, but we forget that you are to gradually be working toward the next door. We get attached to the door that we were just brought through, or that we just unlocked. So then there was something you said that I thought about, and I can't think of it now, but I only remember what my response to it was. forgive me,
It's
was that
almost like
unlocking like the next, like it's about how like to unlock the next door. So it's like with each door, again, we're supposed like I've unlocked it, okay, but then you get attached like, oh my gosh, it took so long, it was so hard to get to this door. This is my door. No, baby, get that door, shut the door. Okay, and come and start working your way to it, and you're not gonna see your way through the next door. You're handling it bit by bit. You're building your legacy bit by bit, day by day, and that's why it's about building yourself up, so that way you strengthen you are strengthened day after day to be able to handle these days and roads or whatever comes your way in that darkness between doors. You're building your I guess resistance to be able to handle that. Resilience, rather. Sorry, not resistance. Go ahead, Jen.
I agree. The analogy I was thinking of was the bed.
Was the bed? Right. Wait, walk me
outgrowing a bed. I think that I feel like with everybody, most people have been through the different levels of bed sizes. Like, you might start off in a crib, you outgrow that. Sure. And then you might move to a twin. Probably outgrow that too. Most of us don't like the twin, especially if you want to use it with somebody else. It's like, this is a one person, skinny person bed.
Yeah, okay. You be like, girl.
Right. You get that queen up in your, because then when you get to the full, you feel like you stepped up. You be like, oh, somebody could lay next to me. Then you get that queen and you like, I can be in the bed with somebody with some space. And then you get in that king.
Baby.
And you're like, oh, this is it. This is it.
That's good. I'm glad you see, because I did not see that when you said bed. I didn't even know what. I was just stuck at the word bed. But I really like you walking me through that because just because I can really see that. And that
as you grow, really that bed that you once found to be so comfortable.
And at some point
now have to level up.
So at some point it was too big for even a crib. You're rolling around, you didn't automatically stretch out, to such a we think of the crib and all that. And so it was too big for you, but it was comfortable to you. And then of course you grow into more so you grow into your comfortability because your comfortability isn't always comfortable to you initially. That is good. God daggone it now. Woo, that spoke to me. Woo. Oh, have mercy. That was good. Not patting myself, y'all. I'm telling y'all, go be talking to me and through me. And that's always my prayer for the show. So stuff be like, that's good. Well, let me say this out loud and then let me take it for myself.
Stepping stones. Because I am going to say I'm guilty of attaching to what I'm used to in like technology for sure.
Oh, yes. That's
like I'm not one to cross over to new technology and I think I'm somewhat of a conspiracy theorist, but also I have a problem with trusting new things, like things that like just come out. And so it's like the skepticism is there. Also, me seeing how people change with those new things is like, I don't know if I want to be a part of that culture. But then over time, you kind of get forced into it. Like, no, not me per se, but like maybe an older person from another generation. Like, dang, I wish I would have took heed to them computers because look at me. Right. What is this? Oh my goodness.
Right. That's good.
But
that's
like
good.
Even still right now with the iPhone, I don't have an iPhone and I keep on hearing that I should. But I don't know. And it's not even so much that I dislike iPhones. And now I also even wonder sometimes, like, am I just attached to the Galaxy just because I feel like it does all the same things and it's a little cheaper? But then I hear, the iPhone is better because of this, and it's better because of that, and it's better because of this. And part of me feels like because I like to be an individual, and I don't like to feel like I'm a part of the bandwagon, which is what delays me transitioning into things that other people have, is that I don't want to be just like everybody else. I don't want to have an iPhone because everybody got an iPhone. I see you down there, Monty.
I was about to say, I am screaming because he is screaming.
Right. It's like, all right.
Android, honey. I knew he was going to show up for this. That's why I'm laughing.
Yeah, I'm team Android too, just because I feel like The hype on the iPhone is literally all it is a hype. In my personal opinion. Now, do I feel like, yeah, they do got some features that, yeah, okay, Galaxies don't have? Most of the time when anything iPhone comes out that the Galaxies don't have, they wind up getting it. They just don't have it at that exact moment that the iPhone has it. But, I mean...
You do have a point.
I don't know.
No, you have a point. And I always say I don't really have a leg in this fight, because going back to one of your original points was just about like technology, of like growing with that I am I think you referred to yourself as a conspiracy theorist, which I was like, I feel like I touch on that a little bit somewhere, but it's to my ignorance for sure, right? And I kind of, ignorance is bliss, so I kind of stay in the ignorance of that for the most part. I don't really go looking for it, like to get clarity, like, oh, am I right? I don't. I just I think this, but also because I really do struggle with adapting to new technology, new apps, new this, new that. And so tying it into the conversation where you got to about just iPhone versus Android, is that I don't really have a leg in it, because I really don't know. I am one of those people that I just, from the beginning of time, I've just loved. It was new, glitzy, ooh, pretty to me. And then I've been addicted to it. I remember way back in the day where I needed everything Apple. And I would say, like, I'm addicted to Apple, and all I need to do is come out with a car and I'm on it. Now I ain't gonna lie, I know I didn't see something pop up where they talk about that, but just it goes to, which I didn't change my mind now, child. Y'all not gonna get me on that, but all of that to say that I totally agree, and I think that's another good example, and I hope that all of you out there, each of you, understand that this non-attachment, like we mentioned last week, is just so broad. Like it really, I know I was about to use the word attach, but it can relate to so many and really almost everything in life, because it really goes into about individuality, your own personal healing journey, your own personal self-care. You can't look to someone else to give you self-care. They can care for you as themselves, right? And to care for you to the way that they understand, and to the way that you relay that and convey that to them. But so it's all about, it goes back to you. And I say that because I was taking note while Jazz was talking. So one of the things about non-attachment, it can even be about, just how we think about things, right? And so Jazz mentioned just about trust, like just trusting new technology. That I fall right in that category too, and I'm sure a lot of us do, whether we believe it or not. The funny thing is, I always challenge it, because we will say like, "Oh, I don't trust it. I don't know." But child, I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm 31, okay, looking at 32, and I ain't read not a nan nobody's terms and conditions. Okay, but I didn't agree to all of them. Okay, so I will say that there's some trust there. So it's like, if you align what it is that you do with what it is that you speak and that you believe, then you'll feel a lot more satisfied just within self. I think a lot of us are operating from what is it?
Fear.
From fear, but what is it? Is it No. Wait a minute. It's not non-satisfactory. Oh, Lord. I'm having a brain fart right now. But the opposite of being satisfied. Oh, God. Is it unsatisfactory? I think that's it. Okay. Woo! I'm having a blown moment. But the point is...
Dissatisfaction.
Thank you. Woo, God. I was struggling. And the reason why I was thinking about on report cards and stuff, like the comments. So I was...
yeah. I've never been a fan of satisfactory. I don't like that word.
And I get it, right? But I know that...
Because I don't like the way it sounds.
Okay. Crying, is that it? I thought you was about to go deep.
Yeah. Okay. It sounds sad. It sounds like sad. Like, I'm sad that you performed this way. Like, that's how...
To use it against somebody, I will say, okay, so it is... Okay, thank you. Woo. So it is dissatisfaction or unsatisfactory. Okay. Woo, Lord. Okay. Because I felt like a complete idiot at that moment. I'm not gonna lie to you. My brain was like, come on, you got it. But a lot of us, I believe, are, which I can hear your point, Jazz, actually, because I'm the person that like, or either I see how words look and I'll be like, I don't like to use that. So I feel like I want to ponder on that a little more. But to use that like from person to person, especially like I said on report cards and stuff, I have always just not like things. I'm like, ooh, that's heavy, right? But I believe that generally speaking, a lot of us are functioning from an unsatisfactory place, right? because of the fact, and we don't know why. I think that's it, that we are not necessarily doing or messing up, or, for believers, or sinning from a place of rather a place of, from a place of like evil. This is a word I heard from Stephen Chandler, Pastor Stephen Chandler. I heard that recently, and it just blessed me. That it's like, he was like, we don't all sin from a place of like evilness. Not all sin is coming from that. Really, it comes from a place of fear. It's like, look, or from being tired, rather. That's what it was. It wasn't fear. It was being tired. So a lot of us are tired and feel overworked because there's some place where we are not aligned. So I'll use a small example of, I don't trust technology. But like I said, for myself, I agree to all of them. I agree. But that is a level of trust, and we have to acknowledge that. So being woke sometimes does take a lot out. Now, I'm not going to say sometimes, takes a lot out of you. It is a lot of work because you do have to second think. Remember, I said we're not calling ourselves overthinkers anymore. We're second thinkers, and that's okay. That, you feel the need to second think, everything, really. I was about to list some things, but everything. And that's okay too. But to get all the way back to my earlier point that I was really trying to get at, I veered off, but is to understand that you have to give yourself some grace. You have to give yourself some grace, because if we think about even with some things that Jess was talking about, as far as like the trends and, team iPhone, team Android, or whatever, let it be from the fact, this is why I'm never really judging people, and why I never care whatever your preference is. Y'all know, you'll hear me keep saying it, like, you're allowed to have your own preferences. You're totally okay to have your own hangups, whatever they may be, especially in dating. I digress. But it's about your individuality. The thing is, though, if it comes only from your need to be an individual, I need to be different. Look at how many people now do almost the same thing, or dress almost the same way because of their need to be different. It's like, well, now what's weird, it's funny because I've been called weird all my life, and now weird is just so crazy. But the weird, or the different, the quirky, or whatever, has turned out to be the norm in a sense. And it's just like, well, that's because everyone's trying to be that way. Just be the you that you are. What the bottom line message here on the B Mix is: be the mix that you are. That is the whole point of it. Be the mix that you are. We're all mixed with different things. I'm a conservative at times. I'm a liberal. Be that. You're okay. You're allowed to be. But don't operate from a place of I have to be. I gotta not be with this. Let it be. If it's genuinely from you, that's it then. Go ahead, Jace.
I was gonna say, I think it's so hard, like, especially when you think about like clothes, right? Because like one person's different. It does become a thing where it can become a thing. But I think more than anything, it becomes a subculture, because I think mainframe culture has one idea or image, and then you have the subcultures that can also become very close to the mainstream trends, and then like maybe the mainstream trends pulls from it when they see the popular. Because that's really how things become on trend, that somebody sees it, someone does it, people who look at that person as an influence or affluent, and then they essentially copy. And so then it might have started off from a person who was quote unquote weird or different doing it. And then you got other people who aren't actually weird or different. They just are followers. It's so now they're following the weird or different thing because it's the in thing to be, not because they're actually it. And so then it makes other people who actually resonate with that look like they're on trend, but they're actually just, and you always know, because when that is no longer a trend, you see who moves on to the next trend and who still stays there,
Yeah.
Like good. Even with like, I think about now with like Erykah Badu's whole vibe. Erykah Badu has been Erykah Badu since 90s. Like she hasn't changed.
Yeah.
However,
love her.
There were people who were on her vibe back in the 90s. And then there were people who transitioned into a new vibe. But some people stayed the same just like she did. Now, I will say that it has become more popular, but they say everything repeats itself, especially with fashion.
Mm-hmm.
And so it has become more popular to dress in that, ethno, black empowerment, black motherland type of vibe, which I personally really like myself. Even though I also am not the person who can dress exactly the same way every day. And so because I am versatile and a lot of different fashion styles speak to me, I jump around a bit. But I have been told, like, why are you always so, like, you're, like, always, like, kind of dressed up. Like, I've had people say that to me, like, you're always dressed up. You never just dress regular. But I don't consider myself to be regular, so I don't want to dress regular.
I'm trying to think of, like, who says that to people, though? Like, that's funny. Okay.
Only people that's close to you, of course, that feel that they have that right to speak on you.
So weird.
But like, it's always those people.
What if this is my regular? Like, this could be my regular. Like, what do you say?
Like, what you mean? I like makeup, I like jewelry, and I like to look cute. Like, I could look like a bum when I go to sleep.
But I get it. I get it. And I don't know. That's funny to me. I don't know. It's weird. I guess because at some point in my life when I did like to just really just, I don't know, put stuff on. I would always say, like, I want to put clothes on. That was my thing. That I never believed in a such thing as being overdressed for anything. I don't care. Like, I do not care. We're going to the farm to milk cows, and baby, if I want to put on, baby, I'm putting on. And I'm not overdressed.
But
dressed for me.
But we do have to remember one core thing.
What?
A lot of people don't be trying to admit it.
What?
But especially in this here city that we live in, we went to Western, and Western girls are different, apparently. And I ain't gonna lie, I be peeping it a little bit, but I be trying not to. I keep my thoughts to myself because I don't want to be that braggadocious person that's like, only the best over here. But But
we have the right.
What's understood don't need to be explained.
Right, okay. Because no matter what, because I've always said, even back when we were at Western, I would be clear to be like, bro, I am not no fashionette. Like, shout out to fashinettes,
Right. But I never understood how they work them hoes with the heels.
I was never the typical, like, Western girl that they think that they know, like, outside of Western, right? Like, oh, we know what a Western girl is, right? Oh, she's up, nose up, and no, like, I'm showing up. What's up? We playing football? What we doing? Like, I don't know.
But it don't even be that. I realize it don't even be that.
What?
It be a lot of how we carry ourselves, but also how we push ourselves.
How we show
and so in a way that I'm not gonna say all, of course, like that's like a very big statement. I don't even understand how people put that blanket on there, but I will say that I consider myself to be very down to earth. Now, I don't play football, but I will shoot. I will play horse.
Okay, well, let's go there.
Or something like that. But even still, people, I've had other women and other men tell me, like, oh, you're, like, different, but I can't, like, put my finger on it. Like, it's just something that's not like other girls from Baltimore.
That's basically it. That's why. Like, if you didn't know this about me, you wouldn't have known that. So cut it out. Right. That's what I mean. Like, we always get the charge. And as you were talking, it had me pull it right into, because I love how the show is already going, and how definitely how last week went, of just going over different things and talking through what could be, if someone was to just tune in, they'd probably like, what are y'all talking about? What is going on? But everything ties in, because to tie even this into non-attachments. Now here's another side to, I guess, kind of like the opposite, I guess, the reverse lane, I guess, that we were discussing non-attachments as far as like letting things go. But then think about the things that, because it's the term is non-attachment, so that in a compound phrase, because it's not all one word, but so we still have to think about attachment. So what is attached to you, right? What becomes, your attachment? And so I know, like, how we're talking about, like, just being Western girls, right? And this is not the time for y'all that want to just dismiss Western girls like, here go Western girls being Western girls. But seriously speaking, that as we are referring to that of just that whole demeanor and the aura and the persona of, what people want to believe is a Western girl. And for those of us that just know what that means, what we were taught, what was, really embedded in us before we even really knew, like, I think we're really still, all that was, fed into us, and I can appreciate that. But so back then, all of that to say is that back then I really fought it, and even now, I'm growing into it, and with this show right here, my light bulb went off that it was like, well, this becomes and has become an attachment that I try to treat as a non-attachment. Try to always shun that off, like, no, I'm not. I went to Western, graduated. Be clear, because there's a difference, but just saying. But not wanting to wear that because just knowing what other people, just the misconception of what other people, would want to believe, and not wanting to wear that. But for real, now it bothers me less and less. It's like, if whatever you think of a Western girl, whatever it is, it still means that you are automatically putting me as an elite. And whereas I didn't want to, never wanted to, don't want to wear that, truthfully, if that is where you put me, and now this is my shady side of, like, and if I happen to disappoint in any way, shape, or form, because if you invited me somewhere thinking I was going to come through with a ball gown and I show up in hooper shorts, then that is on you, because you decided. But truthfully, it's the point of just the fact that, it's always an elevated thing. It's never like because Western girls low beneath the dirt and ground. Never. Like, it's always something of the elite. And it's like, you know what? I'd rather, if there's going to be any reference to me, I'd rather be on the high end than the low end, even if it is technically a misconception. So the non-attachment, we learned that the flip side of it all, as we know that non-attachment is, of course, the obvious definition of just, letting things come and go. Remember, some things do stick. That's why it's called a non-attachment. That's why I said a lot of us are operating from a place of dissatisfaction, or unsatisfactory, right? Because some things just do not align. And the very thing that may not be aligning in your life is what you're trying to make stick, what you're trying to keep stuck, and then what you're even fighting to allow to stick to you. Something about you may be trying to stick. Why do I keep hearing this? Why does this storm, why does this challenge, this test, this circumstance keep coming to me? Why do I keep facing this? It looks just the same. There is something else out of it that you're supposed to get out of it. While it may be a lesson, while it may be something that you're supposed to learn how to let go of, or let go a little quicker or easier, that release part, I'm gonna stay right there, that release, or something that you're supposed to get out of it that is supposed to stick to you and it's supposed to stay there, but you keep dismissing it. Every time this boat rolls up, you're like, no, keep going. Whereas there's something on that boat that may need to set an anchor in your life. It may need to stay there, but you keep dismissing it and letting it go. And I'm telling you right now, as much as we keep hearing that, God will send you the same storms, the same tests over and over until you learn the lesson, please understand that if it is very well the fact that it's something that is being brought to you over and over for you to allow to stick and for something for you to keep, it's only going to keep coming around to you, but so many more times. Don't keep thinking like, oh yeah, I can keep dismissing. If something is starting to, wake up and come to grips in your mind now, it might be time to take heed to that and to work toward either that release or that, attachment. Either way, it's time. Let's just not waste any more time about it. Let's just not. That's it. Let it go or let it flow.
Yep.
Let it go or let it go or let it flow. Like it is it. And I know I told y'all last week, I'll probably get to them in a second half of the show, but there's this other screenshot. As last week I told y'all I had like hella screenshots. But this one, I might even take this in another place. I don't know, meditate on this to see if this will have its own show and topic. But I figured that it fell right along with us talking about non-attachments. It says, learn the difference between your intuition guiding you and your trauma misleading you. And I believe that falls right in alignment with what I was just talking about, as far as when, I keep thinking of this like river of flow. So I don't know why boat keeps coming to mind, but as this boat comes, right? And it's at the dock, you're at the marina. Are you getting on? You got all these different boats. They have different categories, different situations, maybe different names on each of the boats, right? And it is for you to decide which one you're getting on, which one, if they say that, get on the boat that you're about to, go for an hour, ride out into the water and return. Which one are you getting on? Is that the career boat that you're getting on to take that ride just for an hour to come back? You want that thing to go out and set sail out into the water, and knowing it's a storm coming or something like that, not being able to turn back around and then still want to come back within an hour. You want that career to turn around. And career, and I am talking to entrepreneurs as well. That's your career. I don't know if anyone else has struggled with that, but I know me still stepping into my entrepreneurship. I thought I had to release and detach and treat the word career as a non-attachment. I thought I had to detach from that. I thought I could only say, I'm used to answering, like say if I meet someone new, like, oh, what do you do? I'm used to being able to answer and thinking just what I did for another organization and another vision, pushing that forward, that was my career. But now it is that I'm being placed in a position and being pushed spiritually and being spiritually led to fulfill and to walk in, my own vision and push my own vision. And I've been struggling to refer to that as my career. So I just want to take that second for just a moment and tell you that when I say career, it is for entrepreneurs as well, because that is your career. That is because career is it's more at stake. If anything, as an entrepreneur, it's definitely a lot more at stake, as you know, because it really is your everything. That is your baby. Yeah. And if you give up, we talked about this, I believe, last week, or sometime recently, that if you give up, there's much more at stake. There's much more loss if you decide to do that. So. But yeah, so like, are you going to get on the career boat to go out for just an hour or so and come back? Or, your bad baby is tired.
I do not know why I keep y'all there.
I hope you're on your way home.
I don't know. I'm home.
Oh, okay, good. Because I do not want you out late. Look at me, baby. I can't help it. Like, girl, I don't want you. But yeah, like like what boat? Like if they call out. And I cannot even really refer to the show because I hadn't really watched it, but I know a lot of people have Squid Games. I'm technically referring to it, but not really, because again, I know nothing about it. But I just know there's something, like there are different games, as I've heard and know, different games, whatever. So there's their rules or just stipulations or whatever put out. So if the prompt, is set out over, the intercom for you to be like, okay, this next ride, was going to be, for the rest of your life, maybe with a few trials and tribulations. I get tired of that phrase, but it's fine. So with a few trials and tribulations, but overall success, in the end, leaving legacy behind, which boat are you getting on? Maybe you have to choose between marriage and relationship. I don't know. Like which one are you getting on? What are you doing? You have to figure out what it is that is leading you. Is it your intuition that's guiding you? Or like this screenshot that I have, or is it your trauma misleading you? And that's what goes back to what we were talking about earlier, that I wouldn't want anyone out here. That I think that's the whole point. And I know that would technically kill trends in a sense, because trends would become, things would pick up and people would catch on to, some of the same things. That's what's supposed to, that's fine. But it's about if it is genuinely for you, if it is just like what Jazz was talking about, even as far as like fashion, because what I was thinking about as she was talking about it, even with people that dress in the Afrocentric and all that, they're not wearing like Erykah Badu, who I love. If y'all don't know this about me, love Erykah Badu. Shout out to Erykah. Shout out to Mother. I love you so much. But it's not like she's wearing the exact same things every day, but she's still her. That's still her vibe, her look, her feel, who she is. And so when Jazz said that there are other people from back in the 90s that dress, in that same kind of way, they weren't wearing the exact same things that she is or that she was, but still that was their same vibe and all that. And even for the folks that did change, over time with their looks, or that remain the same. They're still not wearing the exact same clothing. I think sometimes in our minds, if we really think about it and really admit it, in our minds, we might be thinking that somebody is showing, if they are a certain way, whatever it is, if they are mean, we think that, or we've had an encounter with someone that we find to be mean, we think that they're mean every day, all day, no matter what. And that may not necessarily be the case. That may be my encounter and my interaction with you, especially based on everything else that, has happened around it before it, history, anything. So we have to reevaluate what it is that when we approach non-attachments, and because we don't necessarily see them as non-attachments, I think that's the thing too. We don't keep in mind, that's why it's important to talk about these things now. And I think it was just perfect timing with the end of the year vastly approaching. For us to consider as things and people, come about, that everything and everyone is meant to, come and go in some season, in some way, shape, or form. And it's for us to consider that, because what is in your mind when these new things come about, or when things repeat themselves? Are you operating in fear? Jazz said that earlier. Like, are you operating in fear? Is it like, oh my gosh, I'll admit that. Y'all didn't heard me talk about wanting, looking forward to being married and all that. Child, it's been brought to my attention recently, and I just was like stuck. Like, I was asked, which I still don't know how serious I can take it, but still I was asked though, seriously talking, in a year or two, would you marry me? Stunned, and was just like, should I block him? Like, I don't fear. Just like, didn't talk about that.
I mean, it's something that you can't 100% control. Of course, at some point, fear creeps up, and sometimes it does make us, guide us in the decisions we make. But overcoming that fear, or at least trying to,
is
the important.
I'm definitely challenge the believers. Absolutely. Overcoming that fear. The only way to overcome it, to challenge the believers, we already know. We already know. And I know that I've been the person to dismiss it plenty of times before, to be like, I know, I hear it. We've heard it in church plenty of times. You read it in the Bible. God is not giving us a spirit of fear. And then you think, well, in life, but I get afraid. So what? So yes, it comes about, but then it's about like everything else that we talk about, how you handle it. And to keep in mind, I'm going to always remind us that the weakest part, or the weakest moment, I guess is the best way to put it. The weakest moment of any thought is when it first comes. So if it is a bad, negative thought, the best time to dismiss that thing is as soon as it comes, instead of being like, well, kind of ponder on it a little bit more. Or, I'm sorry. I lost my whole train of thought for a second, but to ponder on it any longer, there's that. Like, it's just, even any good thought that comes, if we dismiss it immediately, look how easy we find it to dismiss good thoughts initially, but then we ponder on the wrong thoughts, and giving it time to grow and to fester. So again, back to, just as believers, like, we know that, like, the enemy is right there. You got to dismiss him. Hey, enemy, listen, devil, go ahead now. In the name of Jesus, not today. No, you will not scare me out of no, right? And we don't do that. We'll be like, I could call him. All right. I mean, I know he's fish, but I could call him. Like, he probably ain't doing nothing. Then next thing you know, you're trying to figure out why you mad that he ain't text you back. I don't know. Just things, right? Like, whatever it is. So the point is still just to, and I'm gonna stop saying just, but to consider, I really, really, really like this screenshot, just learn the difference. It didn't charge you to do anything else. It just said to learn the difference between your intuition guiding you and your trauma misleading you, which still goes back to just hearing the voice of God. Like, it'd be so light. I always admit that I used to always think, like, every time God talked to me, it's going to be like roar, like, Benia. Nah. It'd be nice. And I'd be like, so I should wait a minute. That was good. Now, wait a minute now. And it's gone. He didn't spoke.
I think God talk. I agree that and I also think that God talks to us through lessons.
Oh, yes.
Life lessons. So, everybody, while we all have the same lessons, some of us need to learn different lessons at different times. And so whatever our experiences are at that moment help us moving forward to become a better version of ourselves, to push ourselves, to, like you said, be more resilient. And sometimes it can be a thing where you get caught up in what happened to you to the point where you take on pain and fear, and then you might get stuck, in portions of life. I think that everybody has periods where they feel stuck and don't know exactly where to move forward. I think that moving forward can look like a different amount of things. It could be you just stepping out of your comfort zone and experimenting as you try to figure things out. Or it could be just you letting it play out. Because if you might not figure it out yet, but maybe as you continue in whatever you're doing, just work. I personally like to try to find things that fulfill me. And I think that helps me the most with non-attachment. But I still get attached to stuff, of course, because I'm human. Some things I attach to longer, some things I attach to shorter, some things or people I attach to easier. It's always just like a good mix of I don't even know. I can't even think of something that I would say is a good mix, like a stir fry. So, and you scoop it up, you might have some broccoli in there, you might get some meat, you might not have no meat.
You always want to go back.
That's the words. That means you might have to go back in.
You gotta go back in.
You gotta go back in because you didn't get all what you were supposed to get from it.
That's good. Yes,
and so, or sometimes, that's what you were supposed to have. And you were supposed to figure out how to make do with what you were given and move forward. This is what will sustain you for now. Sometimes if you give people too much in the beginning, they don't know what to do with it. They waste it.
Yeah. And that's that's so good. That's a two-way street because you don't want to give somebody, and again, we're talking about anything, could be dating, whatever. But you don't want to give them too much of you in the beginning because, like you said, they may waste it, they may not know what to do with it. And then also that's for you, that leaves you so open and susceptible, and vulnerable, when that may not be the place for you to be vulnerable. I'll never speak against vulnerability. I'm all for vulnerability, but it is definitely for, certain place and time and people. Not everyone can handle your vulnerability or your levels of vulnerability. And I agree. Benia, I want to just open and just let me just pour out, and I carry a lot. So if it's a lot for me that's built to carry this much, and the person that is meant for me may not be in a place, whether it's when we first meet or just, it could be years in a row, that if I just go to open up, I might have to still be like, okay, let me crawl here.
Right.
So that was good. That's very good.
And sometimes you can't be mad that some people don't want all of it.
Exactly.
Whatever it is you have to give. I was talking to somebody the other day and I was telling them a story about something I've done. And they was like, in the midst of it, they was like, I don't want to hear about this. And I was like,
you know what? Okay.
At first I was like, should I be offended?
Right.
That's my first instinct.
That's a good point, though.
But then I was like, hey, okay, I get it. After I thought about what I was telling him about, I was like, I could see how someone wouldn't want it.
And good for you.
I was going in. But also, that's the thing with me, because I sometimes have to remember to filter myself because everyone's comfortability level is not where mine's is. And so sometimes, depending on the person, I can talk about almost anything. And some of it can be very private. And especially for people who are more private, I find that those are the same people who don't really want to hear too much of your private.
Exactly.
So it's like, oh,
Right.
Can't stop.
Right. Right. Like just
overload.
Right. And I get it. And again, that's a good point of, like you said, everybody's comfortability level. I don't know why I'm tongue tied today. But just it does not match yours, and that's okay. And that the point of the practice of you asking yourself, like, should I be offended? Because if people stop themselves right there would, oh Lord, I think that hatred, I think that conflict would, a lot of it, I ain't even gonna give a percentage, but I think a lot of it, I'm sure more than half of it would completely dissolve, would be disintegrated just by someone stopping in the moment to ask themselves. And it could be while somebody's still talking, carrying on, and like you said, it's just going in, and you sit here and ask yourself, like, should I be offended? Okay. And that's just you granting, that is how you practice granting yourself some grace. We don't think that that's what grace looks like. We think that grace is just like, oh, if I'm going in, I'm beating myself up, and then I stop and tell myself, oh no, girl, oh no, sir, oh no, bro, you're doing a good job. That's not the only way that granting yourself some grace, looks. Sometimes it really looks like giving yourself the moment where you know that old you, so it's a lot that happens in just a blink of an eye. Old you would, go off the handle about this. Of, I can't believe you. Why would you tell me this, right? And then you realize, like, you know what? Okay, I feel as though I'm acknowledging I'm not in a place that I want to respond that way. But let me ask myself, let me acknowledge that I do feel some way. And let me just ask myself before I ask this person. That's the point of asking that person to do more for you than you have done yourself. So you haven't even thought to ask yourself of how you receive and how you want to respond, if at all, to whatever this thing is, something said, something done. And you haven't asked yourself yet, but then you expecting this person to be and I'm speaking to somebody like me that's like, yo, just hug me or just this. They may not know how to do that because I don't even know how I want to respond to this. Like, and sometimes you may, and this is me definitely talking to myself, like, you may have to ask, can you just hold me? Can you just hug me? If that's your thing. Can you just rub the back of my hand and call me beloved? Can you just rub the nape of my back? Like, can you give me a fist bump? Like,
it wasn't even a sad story. It was just
like what it was like thing, like whatever was said.
But I agree. Yeah, sometimes you could.
Yeah, just
it was just a TMI situation.
I get it, and I get that. Trust me, I'm queen of TMI, so I get that. But just whatever.
I'm the queen of TMI too, but I honestly, I be annoyed when people don't like TMI. But
pull it out, like, cause I hate people right there at the edge and be like, but. Just come on, like, I don't like the whole
right. Like, what you mean is too much information? No information is too much.
Right. And then that's what helps, and that's the beauty of you being able to pat yourself on the back and realize that you are doing the necessary work. And it's not anybody that's doing the necessary work, I don't believe, are the people that look down upon somebody like, oh, you ain't healed yet. Oh my God. I'm always the person trying to like help, build somebody up, even though it's like, I really wish you were on the same healed place that I am, so that way we could really just connect, but it ain't that. That's okay. So but I do get it. It'd be like, bro, just TMI is TMI, and it's okay, because I don't even want to call it TMI no more. Like, it's just information. If I'm talking, I'm talking. My tongue will just get to rolling and spilling. And oh, there we go. That made me remember. Helped me to remember what you said earlier about, like, sometimes you have to filter yourself. Because I know there was somebody somewhere that was just like, filter myself. That's not what we talking about in social media world. We telling each other and telling ourselves that we don't need to filter. Here's the thing. It goes back to when we were talking about the trends, when we were saying that, it's about genuinely being you. So if you can find yourself in a place, not even after, because remember, self-love, self-care, self-reflection, all of that, right, is a lifelong journey. Healing is a lifelong journey. That's not to discourage you to be like, well, what do I want to do that for if I might have to do it forever? No. But it's to understand that it's an individual journey. And so it is to do it to your own satisfaction. Sorry to bring that word up again, but like to your own fulfillment, right? And so, like, as you gradually work through and walk through and reflect and just do the things that are necessary for you, you sometimes still will find yourself in situations, because that's where you're able to, oh my gosh, okay. Whew. Okay, sorry. This is why I'm not good at this. I'll finish my thought because I know I'm gonna lose it once I say this. At least this is good news, by the way. Bring us back from the okay. See, because I keep going back and forth. All right, this is Benia's brain right now. Um, but it's about you even being able to pat yourself on the back and realize and recognize, like I was saying earlier about just where you are and realizing that maybe your old self, but just realizing your progress and being able to see where, and I'm not saying this for you, Jess, because I'm not speaking. I don't know if this was, someone companionship or whatever, but just where you can sometimes find like this person is unequally yoked. Like I don't want to have to deal with this person, like because I don't want to have to, filter myself or whatever. But sometimes it is necessary to still have to filter yourself, like it just is. And you do not want to, why I said it was back to when we were talking about trends, because you don't want to get so caught up in the idea of, well, no, with equality and this, and we don't have to filter. You're getting stuck in that when it's about individuality, when it's about case by case, things of that nature. Like sometimes somewhere you will have to, like, I think of a funny thing, and I cannot remember his name right now, but somebody sent it to me. I'm gonna try to find it real quick just so I have his name. But he basically was jokingly saying, he's a comedian, and was saying that we have to, he was like, why don't we act like, Darren Fleet. He was saying like, hey, act like the stores that we at. Like, he was like, hey, don't come in here, don't come and Target acting like, your rollback Walmart kind of way. Like, come and Target, this is a place, this is a prestigious place, right? Just jokingly saying that. And he was just saying like, come to Starbucks with your lingo and, don't come in there acting like you at Dunkin' or 7-Eleven. Like it was hilarious, but it's, it's a point of saying, of just like, individuality, of not getting caught up and hung up on, what we know, the big story is, that, all women, y'all don't have to filter yourselves anymore and this and the third, but you might very well find yourself in a situation where it's necessary. And when it's necessary, then I'm sure it's for your betterment and not the lack thereof. Now, to the breaking news. I love it. Simone Biles is is Time Magazine's 2021 Athlete of the Year. Period. Go, girl. We love you, Simone. You go, little mamas. Oh,
who is that?
Huh?
She a track star?
No, gymnastics. Gymnastics. She's a gymnast. And I'm gonna give a quote that she has. I do believe everything happens for a reason, and there was a purpose. The gymnast said about prioritizing her mental and physical health at the Olympics. Did you hear of the gymnast that decided to, I don't know if it's just one, but she set out at least one, I can't call it a game, on a round. And everybody, it was like, just everyone's in an uproar. How could she? So many people had, I could go on for days about this one. So many people had so many different opinions. How could she? If somebody else had decided to do that, then they would be this. It doesn't matter. She prioritized her mental health, and that's what you're supposed to do. Case by case, period. I don't care on how big of the platform anyone else sees it to be, and even how I wanted it to be. Whether if it was fear, whether if it was she wasn't doing so well beforehand, she didn't think she was doing so well, she was going to do so well then. She had a very good point. And my thing is, it doesn't matter to me. It doesn't have to prove anything to me or to anyone else. First and foremost, the girl is young, has hella gold medals, cut it out, and has overcome a lot of different things and is doing a lot of work and give back and to the community and just to people in general. She has to prove nothing to no one, but she still gave a point of the type of work that she does of being a gymnast and using her body. She said, if my mind is not right, I could very well hurt myself immensely. Like, that's it. So I don't care, even at the Olympics, if I need a mental health day, that's what I need. And that's what I loved about it. Like, I could care less, even if it was someone did have a point, or I'm not going to say they had a point, but they made a point of, that's why I mentioned earlier, that it was something about that maybe she must have thought, their opinion was she must have thought she wasn't going to do well, or that she hadn't done so well or something like that leading up to it, or didn't do so as well as other people might have expected her to do or whatever. So that's why she took, doesn't matter, because whatever it is, and that's the point of being genuinely you, being the mix that you are, is the fact that once you give a statement, people really can't question it. So my thing is, if people never know, just like we watch some of these daggone, some people like the murder, the violent documentaries or whatever of the people, their faces are blocked off and they have been in prison for the past 90 years or whatever. Like, all these years you haven't known the truth, but knew there was a hot story and it was so tragic. And here it is something that's not as tragic. Child, we got some more work. Yeah. Child, not my brother. Not if you care. Now I didn't know, but okay. This is for anyone that sorry y'all. Netflix canceled Cowboy, is that Bebop, after just one season. Now I'm not familiar with that. Anybody? Okay, thank you. I don't know. I'm not familiar with that, but I do want anybody that's going, because we about to get out of here, but anybody that's watching now, or anyone to catch the replay, baby, if you got something about that, let me know.
What is it?
Oh, it's it was anime that they made into live action. Okay, I feel like I had
Oh, Bebop.
Yeah,
something?
yeah.
I saw it.
Did you like it?
I didn't.
You did? Okay, they said they canceled it.
I did not.
You did not. Okay, why not? We got some time.
I didn't like it because that's not really my shtick.
Oh, okay.
But if I'm even thinking about the real show, Bebop is what you're talking about, right?
Yes.
I know it used to come on Cartoon Network. Me and my brother watched the episode, but I don't know. I liked it, but then I didn't like it.
Okay.
Like it wasn't holding me.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Oh, okay. We'll see. I can respect it. I know Wani likes anime, and so he says, I didn't like it that much. It wasn't what I expected. Okay. So it's not as horrible breaking news. I mean, not to say it's not breaking news, but as I thought, because I was, I want to see it. I have not seen it. Let me say that.
Yeah, I recommend it. I personally, I never tell people not to see anything because you can't. You can't. Right.
I need help with.
Never know. I've been told by people not to watch something that I loved. Mm-hmm. And I've been told or encouraged to see something from other people that I didn't like at all. So it's always like, it's a toss up in the air based on your own preferences, But it was cool, like when it first started, like it had a little bit of comedy, but as it progressed, I wasn't as into it.
Out, though. I can appreciate that. And just from the two different, one of you being familiar with it, like the old version, and then I know Examani actually liking, which you said it wasn't Stitch, but then also him saying that he likes anime, of course, but did not like it because it wasn't what he expected. So I can respect both opinions, and still makes me want to be like, let me check it out and see. But I guess just between the two of you with your two opinions, that's probably why they canceled it after only one season. Sheesh. Yeah. We do have some other, and I was also call it breaking news, but I know some of you may have heard already, but we definitely send, I do not like the word condolences at all, but we send condolences and sympathy, and for even those of us that haven't experienced empathy, toward Nick Cannon for the loss of his youngest son, Zen. I believe his middle name is Scott, but Zen Cannon. That is sad. I did actually watch earlier.
What exactly happened?
His I watched his recording. It was like an intro of his show. It's his new talk show now. I can't think of the name of it, but he was very vulnerable and informed the audience, and he really broke the story down and led up to, it's called the Nick Cannon Show, of course. Thank you. But he opened up and shared that his 5-month-old son died of a brain tumor that was cancerous. So that is, I could not imagine. And I know this is probably misplaced, but I wouldn't be me if I didn't say this, because as I always say, and I know I haven't included it in the intro in a while, I feel as though, but I always say, outside of always saying, who Thursday nights at 8 p.m. are for, I also share that, here we embrace and empower and encourage rather all organic, raw, and authentic material. And so me being me, I will admit, and this is, again, I will admit, if anyone would receive this as misplaced, I understand, but it's still my opinion. that when I did hear the news, I'm not going to lie, you have to be cautious of what it is that you put, I guess back to the filter piece, like just cautious. Even if you don't want to use the word filter, just cautious of your words, cautious of how you portray yourself for anyone that is looking to leave a legacy. Because that's not everyone that is into entrepreneurship, but whatever the case may be. But cautious of, and by him being a big name, he is a big name, and I definitely respect him for his businesses and his endeavors and all of that, and just his success thus far. But the first thing, truthfully, that came to mind after here, I think I just saw like the headline of it at first. And so immediately I just was like, I always pray over like a soul. If I hear of a loss, I pray over an immediate family, just send up something, right? So my thoughts automatically go there. My second thought was the last thing I'd heard of about involving Nick Cannon. And that was, it was actually seeing a clip, and I wish I could remember where I saw it. I don't think I have saved it anywhere on social media, but just of him, his take on, I guess, of people's opinions of him having like children by different women and all that, and just being like proud of that and just doing that. And so he had said something along the lines of like, we should be able to, and like wanting kind of like that. I don't even know. I'm not going to call it macho because I don't want to even put that on men, but just, I don't know, just that piece of like, we can do this. It's fine. Like, we should be able to. It almost gave a feel of like, I don't know if it was black or just like the right to be able to have my family, however it is and all of that. And it made me think of that because I think of this anyway, of extended and expanded and unique dynamics surrounding children and just family, familial units of tragedies. When tragedy happens, what does that look like? Who is supported? How are they supported? And so I could see obviously that is so common that, there are children out here that, share parents or, their siblings that are mixed and all that. I get that. But to do that intentionally, I think that was really the feel that I got from him when he spoke about it. That it was like intentional in a sense, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna keep going out here and just popping bit in this and that. And I think he only really has 4 children, including Zen, 4 or 5, but still. And so he makes it seem like he has a whole bunch, but I guess that is enough. And so it just made me think of that. And like I said, I know it could seem like it's misplaced to bring that up in the loss of his son, but it tugged on my heart a little bit because it's like, well, Lord, I couldn't imagine if, I don't know, I care for folks that have even had miscarriages or abortions or anything. I've always just had the heart of folks that detach from each other. Even after a tragedy like that, because it's just like, isn't that something that's supposed to keep you connected? And so I think of something like this again, that I just pray that, I don't know, I really, really, of course, my heart goes out for him, but definitely the mother as well, and just tragedy and just familial unit and support. So he did say his family came together to support as much as possible. So I was glad to hear that. But yeah,
I also think that people have experiences that humble them when they get to a place of big-headedness or arrogance or whatever. Because, not to say that we don't all have daily trials and tribulations, but, once you acquire a certain level of money, some of those more common problems that regular people have, you don't necessarily feel as often. And so, things like this, death, I believe, can be humbling for anybody, no matter the age, whether you're a teenager all the way up to a old individual, because it's a loss that you literally have no control over. And it's easy to point fingers and place blame on people and things that are not an effect from a cause that you cause, And so you got more control over that situation, where sometimes you have to lose control or have something happen to you that is not in your control to humble your perspective or how you carry things or people, and realize that it's bigger than you and how you feel about it.
That's good.
And I didn't mean to laugh at the end.
No, I know.
But I'm not laughing about like the kid.
I'm the one that laughs about everything. I totally get it. That's good. Because sometimes you have to lose control. And that alone, I'm gonna leave y'all on that because that's heavy and that's good. I'm gonna remind you of your B tip of the week, which was how you handle non-attachments directly impacts your legacy. I think that fits right along with what Jazz just said. Try to stick to just calling you one thing. I feel like I call you so many different things. I'll be like, Jazz.
All right. Jazz,
I don't want to confuse anybody either. Like, who? Child, the queen of self-care, the queen of self-love, but just remember your B tip of the week. Again, how you handle non-attachments directly impacts your legacy. And tying on the end of what Jazz just said is sometimes you have to lose control. And again, it's about how you handle even that. So be reminded to be the mix that you are. This is your reminder. This is your encouragement. Be empowered to be the mix that you are. This is the end of this week's show. And I look forward to seeing you all back next week. Thank you again, Jazz, for joining us. We love you.
You're welcome. Love you too.
And be the mix that you are. Until next week, peace.